God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows how it's killing you. But there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. But God only knows the real you. There's a kind of love that God only knows.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 38 of Your Journey Is Not Over. My name is Tanya Pearson Randolph. This is my own personal journey, and the expressions and opinions are of my own. I own all the rights to my personal journey, and to your journey is not over, neither to be used, copied, or edited in any way without my consent. Well, today I'm being led to talk about being a widow. I'm no expert, that's for sure, but it's again a path on my journey that I was taken down, more like drugged down. And as I say now, it's like I was strapped to a donkey by my ankles and someone smacked that donkey on the rear end, and my soul was dragged through the depths of hell. It will be exactly 2 years tomorrow, June 6, 2023, that all of the hopes that my husband and I had were soon gone. That was the day that we were told the cancer had spread to the bones, and there was nothing that could be done. Time would not be on our side. When my husband's doctor spoke those words to us, time stopped. My heart stopped. My world as I knew it would never be the same. Looking back at that time, it still cuts like a knife. But I also, even through the shock and the devastation and the heartbreak, the fear, still choose to focus on the fact that I got 11 precious weeks with him. I got something, even though being faced with losing the one person I love with my whole heart and soul, that God gave me the blessing of 11 precious weeks. God gave me time, and I thank God every single day. I was blessed with that, whereas others aren't. During those 11 weeks, it was so gut-wrenching to watch my husband slowly die a little each day. And I was his only caregiver until the last hours of his life, that is. My husband didn't qualify for insurance, and he was employed with a great company, but had no benefits as far as health insurance. So we paid cash for doctors, medicine, hospital bills. It was not provided, nor could we afford hospice. So it was he and I against the clock of time. Once the doctor left his room on June 6, 2023, we were in shock. I remember I kissed my husband and I wrapped my arms around him and I whispered to him that I could never say, it's going to be okay. We're going to be fine, because it's never going to be okay. And I am so sorry. There's nothing I can do about it. I wish I could take it all away. I wish I could fix it. It's the most helpless feeling. And I have to say, my husband was so strong and so brave, and he faced his illness and his death with so much faith in God and with so much grace. He encouraged me, and because God allowed us those 11 weeks, he had to try and educate me, give me a roadmap, answer all of my many questions as to what do I do about this? Or what do I do about that? What do you want me to do? It was a crash course on my future without him. The loss of anyone in our lives is devastating, life-changing, and I've experienced a lot of losses in my life, a lot of grief. Never did I ever think I would experience the loss of a spouse. Truly, I guess my husband and I assumed after my horrible battle with COVID. 4 months after surviving COVID, I thought I had an eye infection, and after putting it off for several weeks, I just couldn't take the pain no more. So I went to the emergency room. By the way, me going to the emergency room equates to the same as jail, just in my mind, okay? Which I've never been to. But in my mind, hospitals and jails are the same. Think about it, okay? Once you go in, you have no clue when you're leaving, if you're leaving, how long you have to stay. Bottom line, you have no control. So I have to endure some really major pain to even contemplate going to the emergency room. And again, relinquishing control, childhood trauma. So, long story short, after a few tests, CT scan, and a MRI, the doctor came and told me I'd had a stroke and I had a blood clot on my left optical nerve. I could have lost my left eye had I prolonged any longer. But with my health issues, by the way, my husband was so active, so healthy, that he slept in the same bed with me during me having 104 fevers and coughing while I had COVID. He refused to leave me to sleep in our guest room or even on the couch, though I encouraged him to for his own safety, but he wouldn't leave me, and he never got COVID. Thank God above. But we just assumed it would be me, hopefully many years down the road, but I would be the one to pass first. We discussed it many times. He knew my wishes, and we even had the discussion about me wanting him to move on and to love again. He was so amazing, so warm, loving, loyal, kind, and caring that I wanted someone else to experience that kind of love from him. So you can imagine it was like deja vu when just a couple years later, we were having these discussions, but the roles were reversed. It was he that would be leaving me behind with the loss and the grief, and to try and rebuild my life without him, with nothing left but memories and pictures of our life together. Now, almost 2 years later, I focus on our time together and our many talks, our jokes, our treasured memories. And I also focus on, no matter what goes on here on earth, when I do take my last breath, when God calls me home, I have an amazing husband that's going to grab me the second I take that last breath. And when I speak about this, I always laugh and I say, he will have me in his arms before I even exhale that last breath. And that very thought gives me joy. It gives me hope and also the courage I need to go on and to survive, overcome, and continue on with my journey. I look at the blessings of the love that we have for each other, the memories we made, the lessons learned, the time that was graciously granted to us to say our farewells. And I also know love never dies. Love is energy, and energy never dies. And also, my husband told me I will be right beside you no matter where you go on your journey. And of course, at least 100 times a day, your journey is not over. Then he would say, do you hear me? You must continue on. I want to share this, and hopefully, it helps anyone experiencing any loss at all. About a year ago, I was really struggling, just starting my healing process, and with so much childhood trauma and the loss of my husband, two lifelong best friends, and my brother's suicide, all in 5 months. And there were other experiences after surviving all of that I went through, such as betrayal, backstabbing, humiliation rituals, slander, defamation of my character and my reputation. As they say, watch the crowd that you keep, right? I will definitely be going deeper into all of that later on in my journey. Believe me, I have a lot to say. I will say, I, as broken as I was, found myself being kind, uplifting, and helping others, being others' soft place to land, trying to fix others when I myself was broken and in a million pieces. When I was at my weakest and my most vulnerable, and I needed friends, I found myself surrounded by what I call the devils. Never really believing in evil. Yes, I've seen my share of bad people in my life, but to be nothing but kind and compassionate, loving, giving to people, and get nothing but ultimate betrayal in return, and on so many different levels too, without deserving or provoking those betrayals. Only way I can even make sense of it now is once I started my spiritual awakening, and looking back now, that actually started the day I buried my husband. It was the most devastating day of my entire life. And there were some amazing things that happened that day that I will definitely be telling you about later on in my journey. I look at it now like my husband didn't waste no time becoming my guardian angel. This is something the devil knew would happen one day and also feared. So the devil sent people into my life disguised as friends, family. It was anything and anyone to stop me. My spiritual awakening rocked the gates of hell and all that resides in hell and worships the devil. Because the devil himself knew once I awoke, I was going to raise heaven and earth to help others heal. The more we heal, the closer we get to God and our true purpose here, and the further away from the devil. So I was always taught by my grandma, always help anyone you can. Never turn anyone away if you can help them. It might be God staring you in the face. God comes in all forms, baby, is what she would say. So, with only being taught that, no one ever told me to be careful and watch who you let around you or in your energy, especially when you're at your weakest and your most vulnerable part of your journey. The devil also sends in his demons, disguised again as so called friends, relationships, even family. I had very few people around me at this time, so the devil used what he had. And again, be careful of the company that you do keep, who you allow around you. Protect your energy. Pure energy is priceless. Again, there will be more on that later on in my journey. What I do want to share and was on track to sharing before again, my pen just flowed. I was struggling really bad a year ago, yet no one could tell on the outside. The loss of my husband, my life as I knew it, and the fear was so overwhelming on how am I going to do this without him. This isn't how we planned it. I was supposed to go first, and I was dealing with survivor's guilt also. So I went and I had a meeting with one of my spiritual advisors, and I was just sobbing and telling him I didn't understand. Again, never asking God why. My spiritual advisor explained it to me like this, and I truly hope this helps anyone suffering any kind of loss at all. He said, Tanya, have you ever thought that out of the two of you, between you and your husband, that God knew you must be the stronger of the two of you? Of course, puzzled, I asked, how is that? He said, let me ask you a question, okay? Let's say God decided you were taken from this earth first. How long do you think your husband would have lasted here without you? Gosh, that really stopped me, and it gave me something to think about. Knowing my husband the way that only I knew him, sadly, my answer was not long. Just those few little sentences changed my whole perspective, my views on being left behind, not going first. God must know I'm a warrior, a survivor, and no matter what storms I face on my journey, with God, I will have the courage, the strength, and the grace to overcome anything. God built me himself, so he knows what I'm made of. In the Bible, Paul tells us God is faithful and he will not let you be tested beyond your strength. But with your testing, he will also provide the way out so that you may be able to endure it. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 13 teaches us God won't give you more than you can handle. Hey, you, keep going, because that person in heaven don't want you to quit. I do not own the rights to the things that I chose to share today. I don't think I ever fully healed. I said it softly, like it was something I wasn't supposed to admit. And my friend didn't argue. She just said, maybe you won't. Maybe some pain stays. But that doesn't mean you won't laugh again, or feel calm, or build a life that feels good to wake up to. You don't have to be fully healed to be happy again. To all of the widow and widowers that are listening, please keep going. I know the pain and the loss, but please also know our spouses would never want us to give up or stop loving or laughing and enjoying our journey here. It's never goodbye. It's always until we meet again. And please know, us survivors are now living for the both of us. So live, love, and laugh. They're with us on our journey. They never truly left. In honor of my late husband, I do want to share this. I never said goodbye to you. Instead, I said, I love you as you departed on your journey to a place where life is new. I held your hand and I kissed you. Your leaving made me cry, but in the end, I know I will see you again, so I never said goodbye. Life is a book. Some chapters are sad, some are happy, and some are exciting. But if you never turn the page, you will never know what the next chapter holds. Keep going. Life is a journey. Please enjoy your journey. This concludes my podcast for today. Please join me next Tuesday. Listen in. And as my late husband said many times, always remember, your journey is not over. God bless.
God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows how it's killing you. But there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've